Now, in solving these probability problems, how do we decide whether to use the OR formula or the AND formula? Well, OR problems usually have the word OR in the statement of the problem. These problems involve only one selection. So if one person is selected, find the probability of selecting a male or a Canadian person. So it's either or. Now, AND problems often do not have the word AND in the statement of the problem. These problems involve usually more than one selection. So if two people are selected, find the probability that both are male. So that one is both of them are male. So that's kind of the key difference. We didn't say it's male and male. We just said both are male. Okay. So with that said, if the probability that South Florida will be hit by a hurricane in any single year is 5/19, what is the probability that South Florida will be hit by a hurricane in 4 consecutive years? All right, well, for A, that means we're going to have a probability of a hurricane and a hurricane and a hurricane and a hurricane to keep it simple. Okay, well, the probability that it gets hit one year is not going to affect the probability it gets hit next year or the year after or the year after. So we're just going to take and multiply 5/19 times 5/19 times 5/19 times 5/19. Now, if we go to our calculator, what do we get? Well, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say 5 divided by 19. And I'm going to say we're going to raise that to the power of 4. And what that does is we're taking 5 divided by 19 times 5 divided by 19 times 5 divided by 19 times 5 divided by 19. And I don't have to write it out that many times. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, after I'm done with that, I want it still to be a fraction. So hopefully that'll give us a number, and it doesn't. So that's one of the cases where you might not be able to use this frac button. And so what you then have to do is say, okay, well, we're just going to say, well, what is 5 to the fourth? And that's going to be our numerator, 625. And then we can say 19 to the fourth, and that's going to be 130321, and that's going to be our denominator. And if we tried that, 625 divided by 130, 321, we better get this number up here, and we do. So that's going to be a key. Sometimes you're going to end up, when you want it to be a fraction, it's not going to be a fraction, and so you just have to multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and then kind of look at it and see, do you think it's going to be able to be divided by something that can go into both of them to reduce it or not? So this one doesn't look like it, and so I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, okay, so that one is, wherever my pen comes out, there it is, 625 over the 130 321. So that's part A. So we've got that one done. Now, what is the probability that South Florida will not be hit by a hurricane in the next 4 years? All right. Well, it's not going to be hit by a hurricane. So for not, I'm just going to say the tilde H and tilde H and tilde H and 1, 2, 3 tilde H. And so that means not H, not H, not H, not H. Okay. Well, if it's going to be, it's 5 out of 19. So if we have 5 out of 19 that means there's 14 out of 19 cases that it's not going to be hit by a hurricane. So the probability of not having a hurricane is 14 out of 19. And so that's going to be times 14 out of 19 times 14 out of 19 times 14 out of 19. All right. So my best guess is this is not going to be able to be reduced by using the fraction button. And I'm going to have to do the same thing I did here. So I'm just going to take and go back over here and say, okay, well, now I've got 19. So I know the denominator. All I have to do is find the numerator. So the numerator is going to be 14 to the fourth, and that's 38416. So now I've got that one done because, again, my denominator doesn't change because it's still the 130321. And so the numerator, again, was 38416. All right. So that one's done. Now, what is the probability that South Florida be hit by a hurricane at least once in the next 4 years? Now, remember, when we had that before, we talked about that a little bit ago. At least once is going to be 1 minus the probability the event does not happen. Okay. Well, so that means we're going to have, for C, probability at least once in next 4 years is going to be 1 minus this number here. That is not going to happen. 38416 over 130321. Okay. Now, again, I know that because of the way these numbers are working, that's not going to give me a nice or a nice fraction. And so this won't either if I do that. And so what I have to do is I have to get a common denominator, which is going to be this one. And so I have 130,321 over 130,321 minus 38416 over 130, oops, yeah, 0, and then 321. And so now I just have to take this minus this, and then put it over that, and that's going to be my answer for this one. So again, I'm going to take 130,321 minus, and we had 38416, if I typed everything right. And so the numerator should be 91,905. Again, the denominator is staying the same, it's not changing. So again, we had 91,905 over 130,321. So that's going to be the probability South Florida will be hit by a hurricane at least once in the next 4 years. And so we have it as fractions, and now I just now noticed they wanted it to decimals to 3 places. So now we have to actually go back and do that too. So let's go ahead and do that. And if we do that, we take the 91,905 divided by the 130,321. The bottom one's going to be looks like 705.705 to 3 decimal places. And if I take the middle one, it was 38,416 divided by 130 and then 321. And that's going to give me the 0.295 because that 7 is going to round that 4 up here. And then my first one was 625 divided by 13321. And so that one's going to be 0.00, and then with 7 again and round that up to a 5. So now I guess we better put that back on here. And so this one then is 0.005. This one was 0.295, and this one was 0.705. So you can see very small probability here, a little bit higher, and it's pretty high here. So it's going to get hit at least once in the next 4 years with a probability of 0.705. All right, so let's stop there and we'll come back for some more.